Hello everyone, this is Dr. R.S.N. Sharma, Associate Professor in Commerce, CHSD St. Teresa's College, Eluru. Now, we are going to discuss the credit creation by commercial banks. Credit creation or money creation or deposit creation all mean the same. What is credit creation? Before getting into the concept, let us once again rewind the basic functions of commercial banks. We have already discussed in the previous sessions. The primary function of a commercial bank is accepting deposits and lending loans. So banks collect deposits from various persons and institutions, and from the amount of deposits they grant loans to persons and firms and institutions. By this, banks are contributing a greater part for the growth and development of any economy. Credit creation is also a debatable point now. Let us see what is credit creation. Credit or money or deposit. If bank collects some amount as deposit, that is based to grant loan to its customers. So deposit is the base for granting loans. By granting loans, it can create more and more deposits. That is the concept here. Say for example, rupees 10,000 deposit in a bank can create 1 lakh deposits. How? How is it possible? How it happens? 10,000 rupees deposit can create 1 lakh rupees deposit. How we will see? Let us discuss the concept in detail. Credit creation by commercial banks. Credit creation or deposit creation or money creation. Accepting deposits and lending loans is the primary function of commercial banks. Out of the accepted deposits, banks tend to extend loans to others. The borrowers again deal with their respective banks with the borrowed amounts. By this process, credit is being created by banks. This is credit creation or money creation by commercial banks. How? Banks accept deposits. Say for example, a bank accepted 1,000 rupees deposit. By preserving some percentage in 1,000, say for example 10%, 100, bank gives 900 rupees loan to some other person. That some other person again will deal with bank with that 900 rupees amount. This 900 rupees amount is credited to that customer account. Previously, we have 1,000 deposit in the bank. Again, by granting loan of 900, another deposit is created. Like that, the process goes on. How it goes on, we'll see by taking an example. Of course, before getting into that, let us discuss this concept basing on uh, these two assumptions. This concept is debatable basing on two assumptions. Assumption means all of you know well, that is, we have to feel like that. Basing on that feeling, basing on that belief, basing on that confidence, we can move forward. That is called assumption. And you cannot deviate your thinking from these assumptions. You cannot go beyond these assumptions. So let us see what are the assumptions. All receipts and payments are made through banks. That is first assumption. All receipts and payments are made through banks. That means in economy, the people who want to receive money will immediately deposit that money in their accounts, or automatically, without receiving physically the cash, the amount will be credited to the account, that is received. In the same way, payments are also made through banks. Payments are also made through banks. That means whenever the people want to pay for anything, that will be made through bank. That means by issuing check or by transferring amount from an account to another account, everything may be done through bank only. So that finally we can say that this all receipts and payments are made through banks here. Finally, we can conclude this assumption. No person maintains cash with him. That is the simple meaning here. Whatever he has in his hands, that will be deposited in bank. Next, second assumption. All banks, all banks in Indian banking sector is assumed as one unit. All banks in Indian banking sector is assumed as one unit. What does it mean? There are so many banks in India. State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank of India, Union Bank of India, Syndicate Bank. Like that, we have so many banks in India, but we assume that all banks are to be considered as one unit. That means if a transaction, if one customer of State Bank is dealing with another bank or some other person, that will be considered as one unit. So all the banks can be taken as single unit. So here the meaning we can discuss in simple words. If a person approaches Union Bank for deposit or withdrawal, or another person uh, approaches State Bank of India for deposit or withdrawal, and he approaches Syndicate Bank of India for deposit or withdrawal, we don't feel any difference as all banks are in the same unit in India. That is the second assumption. We have to remember these two assumptions while we are discussing the concept. First assumption is all receipts and payments are made through banks. Second assumption, all banks in India are to be considered as one unit. Now let us see the next point, deposits. Let us observe these terms in advance. Deposits, you know well, banks accept deposits from customers. On these deposits, banks give interest. Okay, on deposits, banks pay interest, and Banks also provide one more facility, that is immediate withdrawal facility. Immediate withdrawal facility means whenever you want to take back your money from your account, you can take. At any time, you can withdraw your money from your deposit. They will not say no. If you want, they will pay back your money. That is immediate withdrawal facility. And loans. Banks grant loans from the deposit amounts. On loans, they take interest. Banks take interest on loans. On deposits, banks give interest. On loans, banks take interest. Now here observe the balance between the two. How can you balance between the two? Deposits and loans. Deposit the customer deposited some amount in the bank. From that amount, we are discussing that the bank will give the loan to customers. But immediately, we have to understand one point here. Banks are providing immediate withdrawal facility. How it is possible? Whenever customer wants money, bank has to give. But if bank has already granted loans from the deposits collected, how is it possible to give or to spend or to give cash amount to customer whenever he wants money? It is a big problem. That is what we are discussing. Balance between the two. Two means deposits and loans. So the solution for this problem is simple logic. If 100 customers deposit amount in our bank, all the 100 customers may not come to bank and demand for immediate withdrawal of their cash. Is it not? All the customers cannot come. They don't come. They won't come at all. Only a few customers, maybe 10 or 5 or 2 or 30, whatever may be the number, very few customers may come and ask for their money. To pay them, the bank must maintain some cash reserve, that is cash reserve ratio, CRR, cash reserve ratio, to pay the money whenever the customer wants to pay. If bank doesn't pay cash when customer demands, it loses its confidence in public. So it maintains some percentage. For example, 10%. That is, you have to remember here, cash reserve ratio. That means banks do not grant all the deposits as loans to customers. They maintain some part of their deposits as reserve to pay cash to the customers who suddenly come for immediate withdrawal of their money. Now let us come to the point how credit creation happens. Credit creation or money creation or deposit creation all mean the same. Already we discussed expansion of deposits. Let us take an example. Deposit of 1,000 rupees creates deposits of 10,000. This is the statement. We have to start with the statement. What is the statement? Once again we see. A deposit of 1,000 rupees can create 10,000 rupees of deposits. How? Let us see an example. Mr. X deposits 1,000 rupees in bank. By keeping 10% cash reserve aside, bank lends remaining 900 as loan to Mr. Y. Understand this example. Mr. X deposited 1,000 rupees in bank. by keeping 10% cash reserve, 10% on 1000, 1000 into 10 by 100, 100 rupees. 100 rupees is reserve, cash reserve ratio. That is 100 rupees after reducing 100 from 1000, 900 rupees amount is available to bank to grant loan. Bank has granted 900 rupees loan to Mr. Y. Now, let us go to Y. Y uses this 900 rupees amount for purchasing something or paying for something. Finally, this amount is again deposited in this bank or any other bank. Here you observe the second point. Y has got a loan from bank rupees 900. Y can do anything with this 900 rupees. He may pay for purchasing something, or he can deposit that amount in some other bank also. Here you remember the two assumptions we discussed earlier. The first assumption is all receipts and payments are made to bank. So why should go to bank to get the amount of rupees 900 or deposit that amount? Receipts and payments are made to bank. Now let us see the bank which has received rupees 900 as deposit lends 810. How 810? From 900 we reduce 10%. 900 into 10 by 100, 90 rupees. 900 minus 90, get 810. That is given as loan to Mr. Jet. Again, from Mr. Jet, this amount 810 comes to bank as deposit. Again, from this 810 amount, after reducing cash reserve of 10%, that is from 810, 10% 81 is reduced, so the remaining balance 729 amount is given by bank as loan to Mr. O. Like this, the process goes on. Now, let us see the total discussion in this table to have a better understanding. Credit creation by banks. This column is rounds. First time, this is a primary deposit we call, and other deposits are derived deposits. Primary deposit means in the beginning with which we start, that is primary deposit. How many times it is being expanded is called that is rounds. This is cash reserve percentage to maintain 10% cash reserve, and this is percentage, this is amount, cash reserve amount to cash reserve percentage, and the loan amount or credit amount is given. So you see in the first round, X deposited 1000 rupees. In the previous example, what we have discussed just now, 1000 rupees or 10% cash reserve. So 1000 into 10 by 100, 100 rupees to get. By reducing 100 from 1000, loan amount bank has granted 900 rupees loan amount. This loan amount is credited to Y account. Loan amount is credited to Y account, or Y might have deposited this amount in his account in this bank or another bank. Already we have taken some assumptions. All banks are considered as one unit. So again, this 900 rupees amount is coming to bank as deposit in the account of Y. So second derived deposit, this is 900. After getting deposit from Y, that is after accepting deposit from Y, again bank reducing 10% is giving 810 rupees as loan to JED here. 900 into 10 by 100, 90, 90 minus 900. So 900 minus 90, you get 810. That is again loan given to JED. This loan amount is credited to JED account in a particular bank. That bank or some other bank, whatever may be the bank, that is a bank. In that bank, the 810 amount is created. Again, a new deposit is created, 810. From the 810 rupees deposit, again 10 rupees, 10% cash reserve is reduced, that is 81. The amount 729 is given as loan to some other person. This 729 is created to some other account. Again, that is coming as deposit to bank, 729. So here, first 1000 is primary deposit, and after that, the second round, third round, and fourth round, these are derived deposits. Like that, deposits are being expanded, multiplied. So the process goes on to the maximum extent, that is the amount becomes very less, where you cannot calculate and grant loan on that meager amount. So on that number of times, after completion of the last stage, the total amount of deposits created 10,000. So in the beginning we discussed, if you remember, 1000 rupees primary deposit creates 10,000 rupees deposit. That is primary deposit 10,000, created deposits are primary deposit 1,000, created deposits amount is 10,000. So out of 10,000, 10% is 1,000, 10,000 to 10,000. The created deposits are 9,000. Loans are given. How you are getting this? There is a formula, that is money multiplier 1 by cash reserve ratio. 1 by cash reserve ratio. Here we have assumed 10% as cash reserve ratio. So 1 by 10% is equal to 1 by 10% means 10 by 100. 1 by 10 by 100. 1 by 10 by 100. So then this fraction will be in the reverse form, 1 into 100 by 10, that is equal to 10. 10 is multiplier. 10 is multiplier. So this 1000 into 10, 10,000 rupees. Expanded deposits or created deposits or created money creation is 10,000 rupees with primary base 1,000. And here also 100 rupees into 10,000 rupees, and 900 rupees amount into 10, 9,000. So this is happening in case of credit creation. So now let us see what are the advantages of credit creation by banks, one by one. Creation of deposits, granting loans is very much useful to the economy, to the investors, and to the savers, or to the people who are in need of funds. Deposits are created and grant. Based on that, loans are being granted. It is very advantageous to the people, ultimately to the economy. Reduce risk to deposits. The people generally, the public like to deposit their money in banks because they feel secure. So why? Because um, very less risk, almost nil risk is there for the deposits. And because of the creation of credit, liquidity can be avoided. There are shares, debentures, bonds, mutual funds are there. By credit creation, the securities are purchased and sold through banks. So liquidity is nothing but what is liquidity? Availability of cash. Availability of cash. That is available. By purchasing and selling various securities, you can have the facility of liquidity and investment avenues to depositors. The people who have it, who have surplus money or some out of their savings, they can see the avenue for their deposits. Dealing by financial institutions. Banks are financial institutions. So everything will be systematically managed, recorded, and reported to the higher levels of management, and finally it contributes to the growth and development of economy. So these are the advantages of credit creation, and finally you can see limitations of credit creation by banks. What are the disadvantages or the limitations? What are the limitations? Amount of deposits. The amount of deposit is also important. Larger amounts are there, we can create larger deposits. If lesser amount of deposits are there, we can create lesser amounts of deposits. There is a limitation where, and cash reserve ratio, this is also important. This restricts the credit creation because banks are required to maintain some sort of amount for supply of money to the customers whenever they demand for withdrawal, immediate withdrawal. So cash reserve ratio restricts the creation of money. Next, monetary policy of central bank. Central bank controls each and every activity of commercial banks in the country. So by enhancing or reducing the cash reserve ratio, central bank can control the credit creation, existence of securities. In some countries, some in the capital market may not be uh, developed, and there may not be availability of all types of securities where you cannot what we call, you cannot increase or multiply the deposits in a considerable manner. That is another limitation. Banking habits of the people. If people tend to visit banks frequently for everything, there is scope for more creation of money, more creation of credit. Comparatively, if you see another case, in some countries, people may not have banking habits, lesser banking habits, and they maintain cash with them. Then there will be very less creation. Borrowing habits of the people. Some people borrow the what we call, they want to purchase something by paying cash only, they purchase. They may not use the checks or bank instruments, or they may not deal with the banks also. Then it limits it, restricts the creation of deposits. And the uniform credit facility or uniform credit policy. There may not be uniform credit policy in the economy because some banks may follow some policy with regard to granting of credit, and some other banks may follow different policy. Then also that restricts the creation of credit. Anyway, if you take on the whole, credit creation is very much useful and helpful for the growth and development of people and economy. Thank you.